This is Dabu 7, an update on this tropical storm that is now named Hermine. We talked about this last week, and this has the potential to reach right below the Category 1 hurricane status as it passes over northern Florida into Georgia. Now, I want to show you a couple different tracks and models here showing exactly where they expect this to go and what they expect out of it. Now, as you can see here, a hurricane watch around the Big Bend area of Florida. Obviously, no hurricane warning at this moment because it's not a hurricane, but there is a tropical storm watch all the way back up through Jacksonville, as you can see, over to the eastern coast. Now, this newly named Hermine, as you can see here, has roughly 40-mile-per-hour winds, and it's expected to shift from where it's sitting right now and bow right back toward that bend in Florida. Looking at the enhanced satellite, you can see that this is a cluster of tightly organized storms that are rolling up through here, and some parts of Florida have already been flooded out. If you look at some of the images today, some of the areas already have feet of water on the ground in some places. It's not what is dropped, but with the flash flooding, it can pile up quick. And I'm going to show you another chart here in a minute that shows why it piles up quick in Florida. Now you can see here's the path, and you can see by the time that it gets into this region, it's expected to be around 60 miles per hour. And then once it gets off the coast, you're talking 65. So this is going to affect the Carolinas. And the way that it's looking now, it could potentially affect the Northeast, gaining energy the whole way. Normally, you know, when these things come over land, they die out, but this is just going to do that briefly. And it could really pick up to hurricane status by the time it gets over on the eastern coast. But they're expecting this to drop torrential amounts of rain. And the storm surge is going to be great. Now, as you can see here, there's over a half-mile of seafloor rise coming out of the Gulf up onto the shelf here where Florida sits. And you can see where it goes from very deep right up to very shallow. And this causes that water to stack up in some of these places, like Cross City, areas that are directly in the crosshair of this. This could be very bad for some of these people. Now, there's also tornado watches out because they say with these storms coming through this area, many different tornadoes could spin up. There have been evacuations ordered. The governor has now declared a state of emergency ahead of this. The National Guard is called up and on deck, ready to be mobilized and sent into motion if needed. And you can see here the heaviest rainfall amounts that they're expecting in the Big Bend area, north of Tampa. And then it's going to move its way back out off the eastern coast. Now, the models and tracks can change with this within 3 to 5 days. I mean, pretty dramatically. But one thing's for sure, Florida's already getting hit with flooding rain. It's going to continue in the next 48 hours. It's going to be rather rough. So people prepare if you're in the path of this, from the Bend all the way back up through Savannah. It's going to be coming through your neck of the woods. You can see here that model. And right now is a good time to make sure that you have a plan before this hurricane hits. I talk about it all the time. Have a plan. Have a plan. If you can plan for a lights out scenario, you should be able to be better off than not having a plan whatsoever. But anyone that lives in the path of potential hurricanes coming through should always have a plan specifically for that. Now, as far as coverage of this event, if anyone out there has any footage, anything they want to get out there, let me know. Dabu7@yahoo.com. I'll share it and get it out there. In terms of any live streaming or helping out on the ground down here after this moves through, we're going to have to sit and play it by ear. This is why we're pushing our Kickstarter campaign. For when things like this go down, we can get a guy to these places quickly and be able to be the eyes and ears on the ground and also help out as much as possible. But heads up, Florida, this is coming your way. I will leave links and continue to update with more information as I come across it. It's been Dabu7.